It's so cold in my nose, guys.
In your nose?
Well, it's the cold that I haven't had a cold, knock on some wood, in a couple years. I try to stay healthy and all, and somewhere I picked up a cold. And it wasn't even from a girl. What?
Nothing.
Well, it wasn't. I honestly think it happened at the shoot I did the other day with the D7500 and the 18 to 140 at the concert.
At Johnny Brendan's,
At
right?
Johnny Brendan's, because they had so much smoke in the room, and I think that may have irritated my...
I doubt you got a cold from that.
Yeah,
I feel
but
like it's
what
probably
happens
just the
if
weather.
it irritates your throat, then it could make you more susceptible to getting sick because it opens up those pathways like tonsils,
Yeah.
which Sutter doesn't have tonsils.
Are you
lack
making that up? Or?
tonsils.
No, I actually think that is a thing because your tonsils are your defense, one of the defenses from getting sick because the tonsils capture that shit and then don't let you get sick.
Gotcha.
Something like that. I don't know. Are we ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Because it's a good show.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk, episode number 122, where we have former Sports Illustrated photographer Al Tielemans, former staff photographer Al Tielemans, who's going to be on the show later to talk a lot. Really informative stuff. I mean, I knew Al since I was much younger, a photographer that I looked up to, or still look up to for what he's done. And especially when I was like 17 in the game and I met him at a Phillies game, just seeing, oh, that guy shoots for Sports Illustrated. I mean, as a sports shooter, you want to work for Sports Illustrated.
Is that what you wanted to do when you were younger?
I wanted to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I shot for the Flyers, and that's the stuff I wanted to do.
That was like your first passion, right? Was sports photography versus like the concerts and
Sports
stuff?
photography was it.
Yeah.
And the things that he talks about doing in the interview,
You're like,
I was like,
that's what I wanted to do.
that's what I did. You called a photographer, I called you. You know, stuff like that. But he talks about one thing, and we'll bring it up before we, as we do the
Preface the
interview. He talked about practice.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that when we get into it. So, Sutter,
Hey,
how was your week?
it was good, hanging in there.
How's
It's
Inspector
getting
Dale
chilly.
Cooper?
He's good. He's sleeping a lot.
Is
like
it
always.
inspector or special agent?
It's special agent, but I just stopped trying to
I was gonna say because
correct him because he said it wrong every time.
Agent.
Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Special agent
Much
Dale
different
Cooper,
than inspector.
No, Special Asian.
FBI. Special
Todd's
agent
here,
Dale Cooper.
not on a microphone.
Or on camera.
Wave up. You may be able to...
I don't think he'll.
you
they
can't
won't
see him.
him.
Todd's going to walk out to that camera. Hey, that's Todd right there. Check out the Sardines. What's the Sardines channel? On YouTube? Go to Todd's... Philly Sardines on YouTube. You can check out some improv stuff. It's extra dirty, so be very careful.
Full show.
Full shows. There's 4 full shows that are going to be up there. Full frontal,
Right
yeah.
after I said that, I'm like, that
There's
sounded
some
bad.
it's Todd's improv group, and it's funny stuff.
It is funny.
So how was your week?
It was good. Busy.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's all I got.
That's all. What was it busy with?
Editing, and we had our Monday meetings, and we started to think about how we're going to redo RAWtalk,
Oh,
which next week we'll talk about.
ugh.
Oh,
If it
God.
happens.
If it happens.
We just said, I mean, change is tough for me.
Change is tough for you.
That just reminded me of a song that John Legend and Common sang called Glory, Glory. I probably don't sound
Dude,
good with
they
my
killed
cold.
that performance.
They
at
were
the
awesome.
Oscars, yeah.
They were awesome.
Really good.
And everything was awesome.
They said.
How does that movie not get nominated for an award?
I know. Animation?
I mean, that was one of the greatest. I enjoyed that movie.
Lego Movie was great.
Immensely. So we got to get into the plug first. Road. And by the way, this is embargoed until Monday. Well, we released it on Sunday, and we just had this discussion beforehand.
Well, technically, this is Monday midnight we release it.
Well, technically, but
Or
I've been...
you usually release it a couple
I've been doing it
hours,
early because
whenever
I like
you
to
feel like it.
Well, I like to go to bed, but I also find that it gets more views, better views, if you release it at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Even though whatever, but so they sent me it. They're like I figured they sent it to me for a reason, but being that we released it on, oh well, technically it is Monday when I'm supposed to release it. But then I'm like, but wait, it's Australia Monday, and that's like 20. They're X amount of hours
behind.
ahead. They're like a day ahead of us
Or a day
already.
ahead of us, yeah.
So I can just release it whenever I want and still be in it. So the plug this week is Road is running My Road Reel short film competition again. Remember that from last
Yeah.
year?
Are they going to do all the tips and stuff again?
They're doing the tips again. They have educational
Cool.
stuff. And now, I got to read this now. World's biggest short film competition. This year we have an incredible, guess how many thousands of dollars in prizes?
85?
Last year was 70. Guess
I know,
what
I
this
remember.
year is?
100.
$200,000. $1,000 worth of gear to give
Canadian?
away. Last year it was already crazy, and this was only $70,000 worth. There is
crazy,
seriously,
man.
here's a quote from my guy. There is seriously shit for days to win. So if
Did
you
you tell
guys
him?
if you guys want to win shit for days, you want to enter the My Road Reel competition. What's the website, Steven?
MYRODEREEL.com.
myroadreel.com. To check out all the prizes and get the competition pack, which includes a bunch of templates, scripting, storyboarding, budgeting, etc., visit myroadreel.com. To enter, people have to make a short film of 3 minutes or less, similar to what we did with the Atomos, as well as a behind-the-scenes video, which is cool that they want you to make both, that shows a road production in use on production of the film. Fuck it, we're entering. Todd, we're entering. You want to win? Yes. Let's try to do it. I mean, it does. I'm going to ask. Can we? I'm gonna ask. I don't know if are we. I think we can enter.
You're probably exempt.
No, I don't want to be.
Let's enter under Steven's name.
Yeah, let's enter under somebody else's.
And this this is from Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Yeah, Special Agent
This is
Dale
a great
Cooper.
film.
Right, and we're using Rode microphones. No, but that's cool, guys. There's different things that you can use from Rode, whether it's the Smart Lav or the Smart Lav Plus or the Video Mic Go or any other microphones. What, Sutter?
Yeah.
Plus, if you don't actually plan on entering, I would still go to that site because there's a ton of information about pre-production,
education
post,
in general,
editing, special effects, makeup, whatever.
They
It's all
probably
there.
still have a lot of the videos too, I guess, from last year's
See what
contest.
people did last year. This is a great opportunity to get your work seen and maybe win some stuff, but more so get your work seen. You never know what's going to happen. So I'd love to enter, but maybe we're not allowed. I will check with my guy who has the little kid is doing well, and he does not have blonde hair.
Doesn't have blonde hair.
He doesn't, because thank you guys for
Everyone
checking
checked out the
Rode.
website.
The baby doesn't have blonde hair. If you don't know what we're talking about, it was probably 4 episodes ago where we talked about the guy, my Rode guy, having a baby. Mm-hmm. So that's it. Go to myroadreel.com. And then we're going to jump right into Photo Muse.
Photo Muse this week.
Because I got nothing, Steven.
I got a lot of stories for you.
I probably won't interrupt because I'm nasally.
A little under the weather.
I'm over the weather, but I'm a little nasally.
First up, we have Adobe Photoshop. It turned 25 years old this past week since version 1.0 launched.
Happy birthday.
Oh, I won't interrupt.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah. Wait, I didn't do it right. I got to do this. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday, Adobe. You're 25. That's the Stevie Wonder rendition.
I was going to say, what rendition is that?
Well, that's the Stevie Wonder version.
I was waiting for the Happy Birthday, Adobe. So the first rendition began shipping on February 19th, 1990 to celebrate.
Originally called the Photoshop Hanging Tree.
Oh my God. To celebrate, Adobe created a 1-minute animation by asking artists and photographers to contribute their working files with layers. They then animated those PSDs layer by layer into a kind of like a mini music video. I posted that over on the website, which you can tell them right meow.
FronosPhoto.com/RAWtalk-122.
There's also an interview that CBS did with Adobe's creative director, Russell Brown, who's been there since the beginning, as well as the founder, Thomas Knoll, about the software's anniversary. Also to see how far post-processing has evolved over the past 25 years, Terry White demoed the original version with an emulator where he edits the first photo ever to be photoshopped, which is a photo of John Knoll that he took of his wife while vacationing in Bora Bora in August 1988. It's called Jennifer in Paradise. You guys have already probably seen this image a million times, but I posted that as well. The funny part is that the toolbar is generally the same as it is right now. There's really no changes, drastic changes, I should say, to the actual toolbar from version 1.0 to CC.
That's very interesting, Stephen.
Very interesting, as you're Snapchatting
I'm
away.
Snapchatting behind the scenes right here.
Photographer Faith Macy got her memory card returned from her stolen camera.
Why?
Why?
Because you gotta have faith!
She made a public announcement.
Baby! Oh, I'm asking
Remember you just said you weren't gonna interrupt?
Say, please don't go away, because I'm feeling blue. You gotta think twice. Isn't that one of the greatest songs ever?
Oh, greatest
Limp
song.
Bizkit singing Faith? Just got off birth.
She made a public announcement stating that the photos were irreplaceable since they were images of the final moments in a baby's life on there. Specifically, shots for the charity organization Now Lay Me Down to Sleep, who offer remembrance photography to parents suffering the loss of a baby.
That is unbelievable stuff, by the way, to be able to go and do that.
Yeah.
Those images are, that's sad.
Her announcement, she said in quotes, "If you happen to purchase this equipment or you stole it, please have a heart and just send the camera card back. Turn it in anonymously, no questions asked," end quote. She then went on the local Charlotte news channel WCNC to share her story. The memory card was then mailed to the station and returned anonymously, of course. Now, unfortunately, her insurance company won't cover the stolen gear since the equipment was taken from her car in the garage, which wasn't broken into.
I don't understand that. I'm still trying to figure that out. Mm-hmm. Like, insurance is extremely important.
I guess she just left. Are they talking about the garage that wasn't broken into?
Was
or
she
the
in
car?
a garage? Was it her house?
Yeah, they didn't get specific about that.
I'm covered
part.
for that.
I'm sure you are.
If your door, it's in your house. How did the people get in to steal her shit?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Was her car in the garage and just unlocked or something like that? And maybe the garage door was up?
I don't know either. But this is a good opportunity for me to tell you to go get lens tag. Why not?
Why not?
Just go to lenstag.com. I sent an email out, and I've been pushing lens tag a lot because I've had enough. I didn't interrupt you. I'm just going off on a little thing here. Look, I like Lens Tag and I like the founder, and I want to work more closely with him because of the vision that he has and the ideas that he has. If you can't afford insurance, or for the time being, you just need a way that's going to protect you some way. The more people that sign up for Lens Tag, the easier it's going to be to get recovery of people's stolen gear, because more people are going to check Lens Tag before they purchase stuff.
Yeah.
And if your stuff is on there, you're giving yourself a way to protect your gear. It's another line of defense.
It's gonna be like Carfax. You check the lenstag.com
exactly. A
before
reader
you buy a lens.
Sent me an email and was like, "I'll just make a cloud-based." Basically, he was gonna like. Sorry, my brain is a little fachatted with this freaking cold. He was like, "I'll just make a spreadsheet and put it in the cloud, and then why do I need Lens Tag?" How fucking closed-minded can you be? Lens Tag. If anybody has downloaded it for iOS or Android, or you do it online. Why wouldn't you use the software that's there just to have a list of everything that you have? Just go do it, please. If you've done it, let me know that you've done it. Let me know on Twitter that you've done Lens Tag, because I've done it. Did you do it?
I did do it.
Did you do it?
I'm not updated, but I've done it in the past.
I'm not updated, but some of my gear is on there. Most of my gear is on there.
Todd, is your gear on there?
Yes.
Is it really?
He said yes.
Todd said yes because you can't hear him with our Rode microphones.
Ooh. Now, a group of mothers launched a crowdfunding campaign for her on GoFundMe in order to try and raise the $6,500 it'll cost to replace the stolen gear, which was Canon 6D, 51.2, 85, 1.8, and 100 f2.8. So far, pretty much reached its goal with only about $100 to go until it reaches the goal.
No, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with the insurance company.
Yeah.
Insurance companies love to do this to you.
Yeah.
And there's a visual that you have to see if you're listening at home. It's just, give me a break. They find every opportunity to do this to you. And that's screw you if you're listening at home.
Now, moving forward, Atomos showcased their new Shogun at the BVE show in London this week.
Thank you.
Where they announced new features for the external recorder. Specifically, the big news is that they now implemented the Avid DNX HR codec for 4K recording, playback, and editing, which is the first for 4K recording. It makes it now the only monitor recorder with recording options for Apple, Adobe, and Avid. The new features will be available as a free update for existing users.
I wonder, we're waiting on one that may or may not have landed in the mail today.
May or may not have.
But I guess we're going to have to update the firmware.
We will. Unless it's shipped with it, which
unless they
doubt.
shipped it, and maybe they pre-installed the firmware for us.
Yeah. Lytro has announced that it's raised $50 million to further their development of their light field technology. However, they also revealed that they plan on cutting jobs and lightening their workforce.
Wait, if you fired Sarah, I think that was her name. If you fired her, I can't hire you. That wouldn't be good. There's a harassment waiting to happen.
Wait, is Sarah the girl you always talk about with the blonde hair? And
she had
flip?
that blonde hair. It was so. I watched her drinking a beer in Chicago, and I didn't say anything because I'm a pussy like that. And and then we talked. We ended up talking.
You talked?
Oh my God, she
in
was
person.
In person. Oh God, She was so pretty.
Weren't you nervous?
No, it was the hair. Yeah, but it was the hair. She had this thing. She's California.
Did you guys hold hands?
And I'm East Coast. No.
No?
You know, but oh my, if you fired her, call me. Maybe.
Well, who's the guy too that kind of talked you into, actually liking the Lytro?
I didn't like it. There was
well, you thought twice about it at least. You gave it a chance.
Well, the funny thing is,
at was it Photokina we were at?
Yeah, that was like the head guy. But then there was this guy Topher that I met in Chicago who just tweeted me that, hey, we'd love to show you the Lytro now. Hey, where the fuck were you when I asked you a year ago to let me use the thing? Bleep. Don't bleep fuck. Bleep. All right, make a note, please. God. I don't know why you can say. Anyway, all right, keep going because I got more to say about this.
All right, so they plan on venturing into new territory with the camera, like video and virtual reality. CEO Jason Rosenthal says,
I think that's the guy we met. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I don't know. But he tells Recode in quotes, "We are going to have to make some cuts in some areas so we can staff up in some new ones. $50 million is a nice big number, but it is not unlimited. We had to make some pretty tough decisions," end quote. Now, details of the layoffs are still being finalized, but the company is expected to cut somewhere between 25 and 50 people from their 130-person workforce. The company isn't giving up on the photography market, though, with Rosenthal saying that additional features will come to the Illume via software updates this year, and a third-generation higher-resolution camera technology is planned for release sometime next year.
I have a friend that works for Lytro.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is his name Topher?
No. No, Topher's probably not. You can come and talk about your camera, but I'm just going to tear it to shreds. Like, are you done with that story?
I'm done with that story.
Oh, because $50 million in funding is a lot. They've probably taken more money beforehand.
But it's not unlimited.
It's not unlimited. What they want to get into virtual reality?
Yeah.
They want to get into
and video. Video and virtual reality is what they're going to focus on.
Why? You haven't. I mean, I guess
because I don't think they made it far with the Lytro.
No, which is fine. You can fail. You can start to get places, and that could lead to being successful. They're not going to get there. The Illume was overpriced. It's still nobody wants to carry that thing around. Like. I watch what they do with it, where they have these living images, and somebody used it at like the Super Bowl, and you could watch.
I saw that,
and they look like shit. The images look like garbage. The theories and ideas behind it, great, that makes sense. But unless you can bring it out into the real world and make it actually work, nobody's gonna buy an Illume for $1,500 or $1,200.
I am surprised they have a workforce this big.
If you fired Sarah, I think her name was Sarah. You guys suck. But my friend works for them, and I feel bad busting their balls.
Do you think they're going to get cut?
Do you know what he says? He still has his job.
Okay, that's good.
But now they're going a different direction.
Yeah.
You failed at the one direction you tried.
It looks like they're just getting rid of some of the people that aren't as important.
I
don't pretty much just starting a new area, kind of like photography and video department. You're now adding on a virtual reality department.
I don't know what they're attempting to do.
I don't either.
Now that what I can tell you is that everybody in the photo world knows what a Lytro is.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that they did a great job promoting.
But does everyone have one?
Well, nobody has one.
That's what I mean.
I've got the old one that sits up on the shelf because it sucks.
You've used it like once.
I used it when they gave me one, and then they gave us one to give away. That was when Eric Chang was working for them.
Yeah.
And he's now
DJI, right?
He's at DJI, and he does a great job.
I do give them props on the second rendition, though, of the Lytro, the Illume.
Well, they
actually made it into like a camera.
They made it into a camera.
Not a freaking rectangle piece of crap.
But then they upped it by like 4 times the price, and it sucked.
Yeah.
All right, enough with Lytro. Topher, yeah, you're more than welcome to come here. A year late.
Photographer Eric Johansson revealed a series of optical illusions.
Johnson.
It's Johansson. Revealed a series of optical illusions where he combines regular photographs and skews the perspective in creative ways. It's really neat. Posted that on the website for you guys as well to check out. You really got to check them out to see what I'm talking about, I guess, to really understand it. But some of them include like a highway where you can't tell if the image is upside down or right side up.
I was going to interrupt, but I don't have the power and strength. I'm going to save it up right now.
He even has a behind-the-scenes video of how he captured and edited one of the images, which he calls closing out. But lots of Photoshop work done, a lot of composited images going on, but expected, but very cool mind-bending stuff. According to the New York Times, photographer Peter Lik, or Like, how do you pronounce that?
Peter Lik, man. Peter Lik.
Peter Lik, oh yeah.
L-I-K.
He sold nearly $500 million worth of prints, which puts him up there as one of the richest photographers, or fine art photographers at least. You might recognize his name. He's the one we spoke about a few weeks back that sold the most expensive print ever. It's his black and white shot that he calls Phantom, which sold for $6.5 million. The Times says the photographer has sold over 100,000 photos for $440 million. Last year, it was at an average rate of $1.6 million per week. He fulfills this by owning a 100,000 square foot factory in Vegas dedicated to just pumping out his prints. The Times also shed light on his Phantom sale. They write in quotes, "With his eye fixed on a record-setting sale, Lick printed a single copy of Phantom. Then he alerted a handful of his most ardent collectors, one of whom, he said, agreed to the $6.5 million price. Before the deal was signed, Mr. Lick hired a public relations firm to make sure that the sale and the record were noticed." They added, Joshua Roth, the L.A. lawyer who represented the buyer, declined to name his client, though he emphasized that the client exists, end quote. So I guess that wasn't a publicity stunt.
No, you know what I love is the sour grapes that goes on in the community. They're like, he doesn't know anything about fine art, and his buyers know nothing about fine art. People are buying it. He's a great business person.
Oh, yeah.
Who takes, and those photos are, I like them. I've been to a Peter Lick store.
They're good, but are they worth $6.5 million?
No, but he got it. He got it.
Well,
because he asked for it.
He built up his name to be that guy.
I love all the people that are just bitching and moaning and crying that this guy's like the Thomas Kincaid of photography. You know Thomas Kincaid?
Yeah.
He died. He was an alcoholic and he died early. But he basically made these. Nobody thinks Kincaid was one of the greatest artists of all time, but he turned it into an unbelievable business, and everybody knows who he is or knows who he was, and somebody owned a Kincaid. So for Peter Lick to want to sell the most expensive photo and has a small community of people that are willing to spend a lot of money because they can. Why? Who cares? Awesome. Wait, Sutter's got something.
Well, the article also noted that he sells a lot because all of his studios are in popular cities around the world. And most of his art is collected by people that aren't in the fine art community, and he's also not recognized
noted that
in the art community as a fine art photographer.
Oh, I'm raising my hand. Fuck you, art community. Peter Lick just licked your balls because he is unbelievable. I love the fact it's like you sit here and you say, "What, Todd? Look, Peter Lick. I don't give a shit that they don't see it as fine art. So what? Yeah, you just said that he puts his stores in places like Vegas, in places like Tahoe. I know I saw one the one I saw was in Utah at South. What's that thing called in Utah?
South by Southwest.
Not
no,
South by,
that's
Sundance. So basically, he knows the people. He's like McDonald's. They put things where the people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
So good for him, Peter Lick. I see you as a great business person and photographer. If you can do it and you can make it doing it, I invite you on my show.
Well, I find it funny that he hired a PR firm to specifically make sure that they made record of the sale and talk about it.
That's called business, man.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit. I don't care what the fine art community says. They can poo-poo but they want to poo-poo. What?
Poo-poo.
Yeah, but it's just like Barnes, right? The Barnes Museum. So Barnes, go watch The Art of the Steal. It's about the Barnes Foundation, and it's one of the greatest collections of art you'll ever see, and it's not at the Philadelphia Museum of Art because Barnes hated the establishment. They looked down on Barnes in the early 1900s, I forget if it was the 20s and 30s, when he went to Paris and he bankrolled the Renoirs and Van Goghs, and he basically they were starving artists, so they paid him with work. He has a painting that is worth $500 million that you can stand this far away from, as in actually this far because there's a line you can't cross on the floor, but it's literally 2 feet. It's worth $500 million. The whole art collection that he has is $26 billion.
It's insane.
All right? Because he did it his way. He hated the establishment. One way you know he hated the establishment is that they have white walls with one photo and then another photo. He had whatever he wanted. He had a big photo here, next to it another little photo. So he's got like a Renoir with a Van Gogh and a Matisse and all this shit, all on wall because it was cool. You guys if you ever come to Philly, go to the Barnes Museum.
How do you put a number that big on a single print.
$500 million?
Yeah.
Somebody would buy it. It's like Peter Lick, right?
Yeah.
But that whole little rant was about the fine art community. I should stop there. Go ahead.
Moving forward, a new product called Shortcut S in all caps is a new dedicated keyboard for Lightroom. It features 324 shortcut keys for the program. We brought this up last year when they introduced their Photoshop keyboard, but now they're launching keyboards for 13 new programs, including Lightroom. Just like last year, they're launching the product via Kickstarter. You'll need a lot of real estate on your desk, though, for this thing, as it measures 15.3 by 11.7 inches, so it's a lot bigger than a normal standard keyboard. They also announced one for Aperture, but I don't think it's going to sell too good because Aperture's recent demise.
Why would you do that?
Well, I guess they already had it made before they announced that they're not going to sell it anymore.
Whoa.
The other keyboards include Premiere Pro, After Effects, Audition, Final Cut, and even one for Facebook. So apparently there's going to be 80 keys for different direct Facebook commands, emojis, like adding friends, messaging, that kind of stuff for Facebook.
For Facebook?
I guess it has shortcuts.
That's
I didn't know
neat. I guess there'll be like a home button,
Yeah.
like friends,
I didn't know there was 80 shortcuts.
Notifications.
Hey, I have a question.
What's up?
That photo that you thought was Sutter and his girlfriend.
Yes.
That I thought was Sutter and his girlfriend.
Yes.
What company was that? Just
I
pop
don't
it up
know.
on the screen.
I'll pop it up
on
on
the screen because I saw this in a news feed and I sent it to Sutter like 4 or 5 days ago. I'm like, did they steal a photo of you and your girlfriend? Because this would be awesome if they really did. Because it looked like them from behind.
It totally looked like them.
That just means that there's a lot of hipsters that look like them.
And then I posted the same thing on Sutter's wall, and I was like, I swear this is your girlfriend.
Exactly.
Let's see. They also are now offering 2 universal keyboards that you can use with any program of your liking that you pretty much program yourself. Price-wise, $129 will pre-order a keyboard of your choice, which will be available in September. The campaign has about another month to go, with about $12,000 raised so far of its $50,000 goal.
Earmuffs for that Peter Lick rant, by the way. I'm just running it through my head
Post
again.
earmuffs.
And I hope that nobody's upset or offended about what I said. But I say it. I own it.
I'm sure somebody is. So a new camera brand hopes to release the world's first true digital rangefinder. Their goal is to offer a simple yet powerful digital camera. They're
Next.
Konos.
Oh, sorry.
Now, Leica already does that. However, their cameras are digital cameras with mechanical rangefinder systems. By true digital rangefinder, Konos means it's not using mirrors and prisms, but instead going for a digital rangefinder system powered by a secondary image sensor. So instead of an analog rangefinder system helping you to focus optically, the Konos will offer a digital system for a similar system of image overlay focusing. This is in turn makes the camera much cheaper and easier, pretty much.
How much is it, and where can you find it?
Well, let me first get on the models, what they're releasing. The new brand is planning 3 different models for the Konos camera. They're going to have a full-frame sensor model, an APS-C sensor model, and a junior model with a 1-inch sensor. The cameras will be 20 megapixel, 12, and 10.8 megapixels. Now, features for all 3 include an SD card slot, spot average metering, aperture priority and manual exposure, max shutter of 1/4000th of a second, 6400 max ISO, Leica M lens mount, optical viewfinders with electronic displays, and a hot shoe mount. And they will shoot RAW. However, the junior model is more geared toward casual shooters, so that only shoots JPEG, and it has a plastic build. No pricing just yet, but they do hope to get the first models out by early 2016. There's a preview video of it posted on the website for you guys as well to check out.
Who's behind it?
Konos. They're a new company. They're a new brand. I don't know who's actually behind it.
Somebody should give them some Lytro money.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead,
Here's
Sutter.
$50 million.
I think it's funny how they're making an entry camera for
Leica
beginners
M's
with a Leica mount.
I
Are
thought
you
that
kidding
too.
me?
I'm like, really? A Leica mount? So you're going to spend
3
$4,000 on
times, 4 times as much as the body on a beginner lens.
I agree.
The thing, though, is that if they do capture the Leica market because they're offering something that Leica doesn't offer, then it's possible that they're going to get the high-end shooters that think they're fine art photographers like Peter. No, I'm just kidding.
You buy Leica
back
for the name, pretty much.
Yeah,
you're buying that.
No, I agree with the high-end one, that the digital rangefinder they're making with the Leica mount, but the fact that there's the beginner one with the Leica mount, it's just why should that exist?
And I'm sure the pricing is going to be much cheaper, like $1,000 or something like that. Let's see. Somebody dug up an infomercial about the Canon T3i. This was your favorite news piece this week from the Home Shopping Network, and it's just ridiculous.
It's freaking ridiculous.
Because
now that Todd's sitting here, I've said that I want to do this time and
Todd
time
knows what we're
again.
talking about.
I want to do my own
You mentioned
QVC.
this to me like at least a year ago that you wanted to do something like this.
Yeah.
HSN was trying to sell the DSLR when it first came out back in 2012. They get the facts and specs right, but what they say about the actual camera is just outrageous and exaggerated.
Unbelievable. Can I read the quotes?
Can you read these though? These are pretty small print.
I'll try.
All right.
And
So-
you can see the video over at fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-122. I, on occasion, flip around to, because the channels are between my Discovery channels and my Food Networks. And
I've
I see
never
them,
watched it.
Well, I see them selling cameras, and I sit there and I'm like, you fucking dicks. Like, you're doing a disservice to people with how you sell this stuff. And some of this stuff is
Totally exaggerated.
It's a Canon. It is Canon's flagship. Well, this woman, you need to watch this. Nothing against her. She's not a photographer,
And this
obviously.
is when the 1DX just came out too, I think.
This is like 2 years ago. Let me read some more of this. What you have going to work for you in this particular camera is going to be the Canon Trinity. It's about the sensor. It's about the lens. And it's about the processor.
The Trinity.
The Trinity. I've never heard... Petapixel had this right when they said you're either going to break out laughing or just shake your head. And I found myself shaking my head.
I was doing both.
Like, are you kidding me? The Canon Trinity?
Well, I love the Australian guy too. His accent just made it sound so much better than it really is.
You don't have to be a professional to have professional results. What you need is a better camera. You need faster processing speed. Yeah, dick. Nothing can do better than this. The reviewers, the experts, the gadget gurus, the magazines, the industry has labeled the Rebel by Canon as simply supreme. I mean, that's the word to describe it. It's supreme. It just sounds like I'm reading Ken Rockwell's website. It really does. I would love to see him on this show.
Man.
I mean, this is asinine stuff. Okay, the 75-300 is going to give you those professional-looking results.
Whoa. 3.5 to f8.
It's a camera to have for a lifetime because you have pictures and video like you've never had before.
Amazing.
I'll give that back to you. But holy shit, just listening to this woman sell, it's just like, anybody who know Dave Bilecki?
No.
So Dave Bilecki, or Steve Bilecki, I forget his name, was a baseball pitcher. No, one of the two names. And he was pitching. And he played for the San Francisco Giants. He threw a pitch and his arm broke. His arm broke. The first baseman could hear it break. Okay?
Love it.
He had to have his arm amputated. All right?
Oh.
And then I heard a comedian.
He had to get it amputated?
Yeah, he lost his arm.
Wow.
Because there was bone something,
Holy
cancer
crap.
or something like that. And then I heard something like a spoof that a comedian was doing. And it was a QVC spoof or a Home Shopping Network spoof. And they're like, and coming up next, we've got Dave Bilecki's arm on FlexPay.
Terrible.
You know? But that's what it's just listening to this woman, she's like, the Canon Trinity, that's what you have working for you. It's just, you will not get better results than this. Look at that background. It is totally just out of focus. And that's what you're going to get when you combine the Canon lenses, the Canon cameras, the battery, the processor. That is where it's at. And I don't know what I'm talking about, but listen, it's available on FlexPay for 4 easy payment, and it's always overpriced because they throw in there like bags and extra shit that nobody needs and software. And it's bundled with $800 of free shit.
FlexPay option of $6,000 for five payments of $6,000.
It's unbelievable.
Well, the best part too is when they were talking about like, look, we're filming the show with a Canon camera, and they point to it, and it's a Sony camera with a Canon lens. Which the lens alone is like a $30,000.
That's $100,000 lens.
Yeah, right.
If it's the production,
it's
thing.
the production broadcast.
But
one
it's
or
like,
whatever.
I love when people call into QVC and it seems like you got that religious guy.
Because what they're getting is the older generation that
always
doesn't
the older
check the internet,
generation.
doesn't research.
Well, and they're
just
selling
listening.
older cameras too.
Yeah.
But you always get that guy. He's like, "You have a blessed day." He's like, "So this is the camera that's going to get you the photos of your family that you've always wanted. You just can't do it." Hi, we've got Jennifer calling from Topeka.
Hi, I'm Jennifer from Topeka. I have to say, John, I love everything about you. I bought this camera the last time you offered it, and oh my God, am I getting that trinity of Canon Trinity? It's just giving me the results that I could never have helped with. I shoot pictures of my dog, and I got the GIMP tied up in the basement, and put the ball gag in their mouth, and it's just giving me the photos that I never thought I could get because I'm from Topeka. You can check out my website. It's Jennifer from the block, bestiality.com.
Oh, we got to let her go.
When really it's like the producer in the background, like, oh, okay, thanks, John, bye.
Go ahead, keep going.
That's pretty much it about that story, but you guys got to watch this video. It's just outrageous. Yo.
Back to the call thing. Did you ever see the one where they were selling the computer and they're like, what would you use this computer for? And the guy calls in. He's like, I'd use it for so much porn.
That's awesome. That's probably why they had the producers
I should start calling into QVC. I should start calling in. Oh, God, this is amazing, guys.
Let's see. Von Wong, he's at it again. He wanted to showcase the fearlessness of superheroes without special
Von Wong
effects.
always stands, like in Israel, we were on the roof deck.
Stands?
Hold on. We were on the roof deck of this hotel, and he goes on to the other side of the railing to take pictures.
That's ridiculous. Scary.
I hope it doesn't happen like Binky Irwin's father, Bindi Irwin's, Steve Irwin.
So he took pictures of superheroes without special effects. He did that and made a series featuring superheroes on the edge of skyscrapers. The series,
I'm on the edge of darkness.
Skyscrapers. The series is called The Edge of Certain Death, not The Edge of Glory. It features Smug Mug employees dressed up as well-known superheroes like Mystique, the Hulk, Wolverine, Harley Quinn.
Hellboy as well.
Who's
Harley Quinn?
It's the girl from, isn't that Batman? Like the bad girl in Batman or something?
All I know is Kevin Smith named his daughter Harley Quinn.
Yeah. He notes that these weren't professional stuntmen by any stretch. He scouted San Fran for rooftops and finally found the perfect one, which was a 40-story building spanning 1,000 feet high. And the best part is, like in the behind-the-scenes video, he's like scouting the buildings and he goes to the top one. He just jumps up and it's like 40-mile-an-hour winds and he's on literally the edge. Nothing holding him in or anything.
Von Wong is insane.
Yeah, he's just crazy.
But what makes his stuff stand out is that he does extreme stuff that nobody else does.
So he got the shot by mounting a D800E with a 14-24 lens, boomed with the perspective of being over and in front of them. He would fire the shots off wirelessly from the laptop. As usual with all of his shoots, like I just said, there's a behind-the-scenes video. You guys can check it out. But really cool stuff as usual.
Yep.
Let's see. Speaking of superheroes, photographer Eddie Harjo, or Hario, however you want to say.
Is that a silent J?
Soft J. Posted a photo series featuring shots of Marvel and DC characters in unique situations. He used just ordinary action figures of the superheroes and a macro lens. The characters include Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man, Batman, Wolverine, the Joker, and much, much more. They're pretty funny, though, with some including... like all of them on a table, scared of like a mouse. Like he built his own custom sets. They also have him crowding around the corner, trying to see like a naked Black Widow as she's like getting out of the shower. They're all
That's dirty.
The cool thing, they're all peeing on the side of a wall, and they're all like looking at the Hulk, like, oh my god.
That just reminded me of something that the Sardines did last night. Todd's troop. He told me that they did a robot orgy. If anybody knows anything about improv. You got to watch these videos. We'll post the video over on our site. We'll post the video if it's edited, which it should be. We'll post it over on fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-122. Watch these if you like improv. It's good stuff.
But that's pretty much about that story. The Hulk is also giving like Thor a haircut and stuff like that. It's funny.
Do you know what happens to women after they sleep with Thor?
What?
They're Thor.
And finally, the Nikon D7200 got announced this week. Spec-wise, it features 24.2 megapixel DX sensor with no low-pass filter.
Wait, guess what the D7100 had for megapixels?
24.1.
24.1. Guess what the difference is? 0.1.
So 100 to 25,600 native ISO, expandable up to 102,400, 51 autofocus points.
Yeah, but you got to preface that. There's a difference.
What?
You're going off my notes here.
Yeah, you have very sloppy notes, by the way, which you scanned and sent to me.
These are not sloppy notes, man.
Dude, you have stuff everywhere on side notes.
So let me read the specs.
Yeah, you can read them.
So because I'll do it. Because I know what my notes mean.
It's an organized mess.
Because you weren't looking at the press release because that wasn't the
exactly.
So the ISO is 100 to 25,600.
Correct.
Natively.
I said that.
The old one wasn't that, but H1 and H2 are only black and white.
Really?
So 51,200 and 102,400 are only going to be black and white.
Did you have that in your notes?
Yeah, it says it right there, black and white. But you wouldn't have been able to decipher that.
Yeah.
Because you have my notes.
Exactly.
What they've upgraded, because yes, it's 24.2, not 24.1.
Amazing.
Whatever. That's meaningless.
Yeah.
It still does 6 frames a second, but it will do 7 frames a second in 1.3 times crop mode.
Interesting.
It also does 1.3 times crop mode for video, which it would do
1080, right?
1080 at 60 frames only at 1.3 crop mode.
Gotcha.
It does 14-bit RAW files instead of 6, so a much better buffer. And it will do 100 JPEGs in a buffer instead of 35 or something like that. 51.AF, that is EV-3, and it has 15 cross-type. I asked the question, why don't you have all cross-type like Canon? And they said they all act different. Having more may not actually means, I don't know. Whatever.
Because they still want to sell their flagship pro cameras.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we know that we've had issues with Canon and Focus too. So you could have 80 million cross type. If it's soft, it's soft.
So is this supposed to be a direct competitor to say the 7D Mark II? Or no? Is that a
I didn't even
separate
ask
camera?
that. No.
I'm just curious.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think it stands on its own.
Okay.
They have zebra stripes now for video.
That's great.
Exposure smoothing plus auto ISO for video. I love the auto ISO for that. 1/8,000th of a second.
That's good.
Whereas the D750 is 1/4,000th
Actually,
of a second.
I think that's why I wanted to know if it was to the 7D Mark II because of the shutter speed.
My question on the phone, which got silence, was, will it be recalled?
Here's the 7210.
I was like, let me ask you guys a question. Will it be recalled?
Oh, man.
And they just sat silent because
Hopefully
okay.
not.
And it has Wi-Fi and NFC.
That's great.
So that's the first camera that they have that's going to do that. 12,000 shots per charge. Same body construction. It's going to be $1,199. This is a great option. I mean, it's a good option. If you have a D7100 already, this is probably no need to upgrade.
No.
But it does have one more ISO capability with the 25,600.
$11.99. That's not bad.
The other thing they also told me about was a wireless microphone system that they're creating, $250. I can't quote them on the price, but it was an MEW1. It's a wireless lavalier, and there was something where you could plug in a headphone to the wireless lav that I could hear you back at the camera if I was far away to have two-way communication. And that's
this is
what I got.
Nikon's first jump into like a wireless lab system, right?
Well, yeah, but they also had the ME1, which is a shitty microphone.
That was the shotgun mic, correct?
The shitty shotgun
The
mic.
really small.
Really
like,
shitty.
Yeah.
Really shitty. Like, really shitty.
Is it really shitty?
They should leave it to Rode to do it. Seriously. And those are the specs.
For photo news this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's time to preface the interview?
Time to preface the interview.
All right, let's preface this interview.
Yes, preface
Al
it.
Tielemans, I've known for a long time, and you're going to hear about the stories of how I met Al and the when he offered me to assist him in an assisting gig and how I pussied out and all that stuff. You're going to hear the stories of that. Now, Al shot for Sports Illustrated for a really long time, and as of a couple weeks ago, everybody knows the story that Sports Illustrated let go of their full-time staff photographer. So we discussed some of that in there. We discussed what Al thinks photographers should do today and where he thinks he's going for the future. So one of the main take-home points that I think you need to hear, and they were subtle that I heard that I made a note about, was practice. How he used to go out when he didn't have shoots and practice. This was film days, that he would practice manually focusing, just making sure that he could be tack sharp,
Practice
that his
makes
skills
perfect.
were honed. That was like me sitting there and shooting the TV screen when hockey players would come around the ice, because I was like, I'm practicing shooting the TV screen with an empty camera because I was training my eye to capture it.
It's crazy.
So the practice thing is something to take home from here. But Al has a ton of Sports Illustrated covers. I think it was 6 or 7.
I think he's at 6.
Super Bowl covers.
It's crazy.
This is somebody you got to listen to. So let's get to this. Here is the interview with Al Tielemans. Yeah, so guys, we have Al Tielemans here, as you heard already in the introduction, which Al hasn't heard yet because we haven't actually recorded it. This is before we do that. But thank you for coming out.
Hey, thanks for having me. It looks like should have some fun.
We should have some fun. We're gonna get into it. I mean, we were just talking before it started rolling. You were asked if I ever assisted you, because you asked when I worked at Allen's, because I did work at Allen's, and you would get stuff from there, come in there and hang out. And then I was telling you that I kind of pussied out on a shoot that you invited me to. It was Eagles training camp, and I think you needed me to hold the reflector. And I was explaining to you how I was a pussy back then, in terms of I was afraid. Not afraid to drive. Because I couldn't see street signs and it was before GPS, I was afraid to get to where I was going. It's just bad. Stupid. Should have been there.
But you were driving other places at the time?
Barely.
Okay.
I could go to where I knew how to get
Terrifying, Jared.
Isn't it terrifying?
It is.
And I'm a hockey official and a baseball umpire. All that good stuff.
That's good.
My
Very
dad,
cool.
I think my dad umped some of the games that your kids were in. Districts?
I believe so. I think that our league, I was affiliated with Lenape Valley Baseball, and I think he was involved with some of those games.
Yeah,
So,
he liked doing your games.
Yeah.
So if you had your own baseball card or sports card, how would the stats read on the back? How many years? How many Sports Illustrated
my
covers?
goodness.
How many things? Not to throw a wrench at you.
You know what? You talk about photography?
Yeah. Well, what else would I be talking about?
I don't know. I started shooting professionally when I was in high school. I mean, I started trying to make money in high school. But I guess I really started working in 85, so it's been like 30 years now.
I was 4.
About 30 years. There you go. Yes. Yeah, remind me, man. Remind me. So yeah, about 85, so 30 years. I just finished on March 23rd. I'll end my tenure at SI at 25 years, although I was a freelancer for SI. I was a contract photographer. Then we had a period of time where we were on staff. That staff doesn't exist anymore. So I guess there's opportunity to freelance. We'll find that out over time. So yeah, it's been a great 30 years. I've had a ball. Yeah.
How many Sports Illustrated covers have you had?
You know what? I don't know exactly. It's kind of weird now because they have national covers and regional covers. There was
Super Bowl covers.
I think 6.
6 Super Bowl covers?
5 or 6. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been great 25 years. So I hope it continues.
What can you say? Because I know. What can you say about the Sports Illustrated just laying off or letting go of the department?
I guess they eliminated the photographers' positions. So there's 6 photographers left, and our last day is March 23rd. And then, we're just getting used to the idea of like that new world, freelancing again or whatever you're going to end up doing. So we're just kind of figuring out all the nuts and bolts of what has to happen before the 23rd. And then what life's going to be like after the 23rd,
Sure.
So, yeah.
Now, do they own all of the images you took?
Yeah, we were staff employees. So, yep, they own those pictures.
Do you get any usage if you want to do a book of your best work?
I think the tradition has been that you do have access to those pictures. It's just been, Time Life has a long history of being really friendly to photographers. And I would imagine that's going to continue.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Do you know where, I think I met, where I met you the first time? Veteran Stadium in the dugout. I came down to shoot a game. I think I was 17 or 18 at the time, and you were there, and I don't know who the guys you were talking with, but it was film days, and I just remember, I think I walked out with you. We rolled up the tunnel, went out the back exit, and went to my cars. I looked up to you because I knew the work that you did, and it was like, I want to work with this guy, and then I screwed it up when I didn't actually accept that assisting thing that you offered. But I remember staying in touch with you, and I was young, and we would have conversations on the phone every once in a while where you were talking about the sports industry as maybe not a place to go. And I remember I took something you said the wrong way and didn't understand it and realize it until years later. You weren't telling me not to be a photographer. You were just making me aware of how difficult it will be to make it in the sports world.
Yeah, and I've told a lot of people that. I guess for probably the last 10 to 15 years, I don't know that I've discouraged people from becoming photographers because I think you have to follow your dream. If this is what you really want to do, you just have to go after it and do it. However, in the last, I would say probably since we started going digital in 2002, there's just been this change. It's very hard to explain. The business is not good of print magazines, of newspapers. So I think you just had to be, what I tell the kids now is you need another option. So you want to be a photographer? Great, go for it. But maybe you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe you have some options. Have another option. And it may be if you're want to be a baseball photographer, you have other options in baseball. And it's not that photography is bad now. I think there's more opportunities for photography, more opportunities to be creative, to create projects that people, that would pay for and, have you make a living doing it. It's just different. It's different from how someone that came up when I came up, starting in 85, how that business is set up. So you've got to learn it. I think part of it is I've developed a business or whatever and a certain income level. So you want to try to match that. You may not be able to match that, but what you do may be able to be better or creative. The whole layoff thing has really made me think there's part of me that's terrified because I have this nut I have to match or get close to or make changes in our lives. But I'm also really excited because, there's just different options available now. And I wanted to work at SI since I was like 14 or 15. My orthodontist used to save the magazines for me, and every time I'd get my braces tightened, I'd walk out of there with a stack of magazines and cut out the pictures and hang them on my walls and stuff. So it's something I've always wanted to do, but the magazine I wanted to work for, it's different now. It's just different, the way they cover things, the way they're, ESPN changed a lot of things. It's not as newsy. So it's different. So that's kind of where I am right now. Yeah.
Have you gotten into video?
Yeah, I've last 2 years I would say I've gotten really into video, and I just booked my trip to NAB for April.
We're going.
Yeah, there you go. So I heard you were going, so I had to follow you out there. So
party.
Yeah. Dave Clutho and I are actually going to go out. One of the other SI photographers are going to go out and check it out. So we're making arrangements now. So yeah, again, it's like getting to know the gear. It's like all those years walking through Photo Expo, This is all new to us. So just trying to get up to speed with the terminology, with the language, with the business. Photographers are kind of lone wolves. You do everything yourself. And then video, it's all of a sudden it's all spread out. You need a team, you need a group. So just figuring out what's out there in terms of gear. Maybe go some those conferences and get some terminology down and figure out what you're interested in doing. Part of what I have to do is I have to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to do photography? Do I want to do video? Do I want to do both? Can you do both?
I think you can absolutely do both, because you have a backlog of, you have Sports Illustrated covers that still holds a lot of weight today. So I'm curious how you'll be able to transition to shooting the professional sports. How you're going to stay in that?
You know what? I'm not necessarily married to staying involved in sports. I freelanced for 15 years before I ever went on staff with SI and did everything, did primarily sports. I felt I was really good at it, and I got to work at SI when it was still manual focus. So, I kind of earned my way in there and then stayed for a long time. I think it has some value, personally. But what I want to do in the future, I really don't know. And that's part of the excitement too, is that, it is like this wide open world, and it's the Wild West out there, kind of, with people picking up ideas and the business models that you want to, or maybe able to create. I think it's very exciting, a little scary, a little exciting. So yeah.
If I were you, I'd reach out to Derek Jeter's new venture.
I know people up there too, but I'm trying to figure out what I want to do first before I start pound the people. I've had people reach out to me. I know Maureen Grace, who works for them. I know several of the photographers that works for the Tribune, Players Tribune. I've talked to them, and you know what? I'm just kind of like ingesting all this information, and I still feel like I need to figure out exactly how I want to, invest my time and my future. It was going to be primarily video, primarily photo, a mix, take what comes along. So
it's a huge transitional period that you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I would say that the last 2 years I've been putting in a lot of time with the video and also trying to learn the business. I've spent a lot of time the last 6 months talking to the business people at SI, trying to figure out what their ideas are for the future and for the website and stuff like that. So everybody has different opinions, and doesn't seem like anybody's really figured it out. I don't mean just at SI, but anywhere. You talk to different people. I've met a gazillion people the last few weeks, just having conversations with them. Nobody's really got a handle on how it fits together. So that's still like a work in progress, and it's complicated. You've got this standard, the paper magazine, you've got your website, and then you've got the film department and the video department, and how all these things merge together. Not everyone has that kind of down yet. So
what do you remember your first Sports Illustrated cover?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started shooting. I had my first picture published in like 87 or 88, but really started shooting for them in 90. That was my first year shooting football in 1990. And so come October, when they started making plans for the Super Bowl, I remember asking, am I going? And Bobby Mitchell, who was the editor at that time, he called me probably in late October and said, okay, you're going to the Super Bowl. So I made my plans. And that was Super Bowl 25 when the Giants beat the Bills, and that was my first cover.
Is that the missed field goal?
The missed field goal, yeah. Scott Norwood's missed kick. So yeah, that was my first cover, and the cool part was when I got the issue, it was dated on my birthday.
Oh, nice!
So that was very cool.
So it was probably a hell of a lot different then, because you didn't see the cover online before it. Now they kind of put it out the next day.
I think I don't exactly remember. I remember Bobby Mitchell telling me that Monday afternoon. And then I think I got like a copy faxed to me or something like that,
Fax.
So yeah, I know, fax. I know, I'm dating myself. So, and then a friend of mine actually, she found it somewhere and Xeroxed it and
Sent it over,
yeah.
So once you get one, is it like a nonstop chase for another and another and another?
When outside of being told you're shooting a cover, I never really did. Most of my covers are from horizontal frames.
So it's all cropped.
I've never tried not to be obsessed with covers. Believe me, even to this day, it's exciting to get them. Like I'll make no bones about it, only because I think I've been invested in working for SI for so long, and I was as a kid. It's still exciting. I'd much rather have a great picture inside than an ordinary cover. Like it's
With a
covers
2-page spread.
The covers I like the best are the ones that were really nice pictures.
Sure.
So, or really, momentous things. So you try to keep it out of your head. You try not to
You just go
have
shoot.
preconceived notions about where something's going to play and all that, because that can work against you. You got to just be able to react.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
speaking of reaction, it's the cover of the Steelers and Cardinals. You're in the end zone in the right place,
Right.
and we talked about this. We talked about the Super Bowl that you just shot, and how sometimes nothing happens where you're at, and then you
Right.
get something like that where you end up getting the cover. Does it personally hurt you that his foot was cut off in the frame?
Well, it doesn't hurt me. I mean, I know it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not calling it and saying
yeah.
it's a bad. I was just curious what you
I've-
felt about.
I was interviewed once before, and I remember telling people, saying, it's not a perfect picture. You know what? The NFL Films did a segment on that cover. And there's a lot of things wrong with that picture. I think it's a little late. The earlier pictures in the sequence were not sharp. So it wasn't only that picture when he's fallen, his toes clipped off. But the fact was that that's what ended up getting used on the cover. It could have been any picture, And it was just the play before that was a similar pass across the other side of the field. It was incomplete, went right through the guy's arms. I mean,
So you never know.
I had no shot of that. There's so much luck involved. So you have to let go of that luck part. And then when it comes down to making the picture, you just do the best you can in this situation. I've actually changed the way I shoot in the end zone late in the game based on that picture. And I just crank my lens
Just
open,
a little wider.
my zoomer just a little wider. Because what happens is if it's in further, it's gonna start falling off too much if you go wider. Just a little bit.
So you've seen one of the largest changes of gear since you've been shooting. I mean, has digital made your job easier? Has it made it more difficult? Not more difficult or anything, but do you miss shooting manual back in the day?
I certainly don't miss shooting manual. Shooting manual just meant that, well, back then it's all there was. I practiced a lot more. If I had a weekend off, I'd never take a weekend off. I'd go and you wanted to stay sharp. You'd go out before the game, regardless of what weather, and you would just kind of get back in a rhythm. Some days you had good days, some days you had bad days. So now that's not that much of a problem. As long as your camera's working, you can kind of make those pictures. I remember when it first came out, I was kind of bummed because I felt like I was really good follow focuser. So kind of didn't really help me out any. It was like all of a sudden this talent I had established was like a purchasable commodity.
Sure.
But again, like change happens and you just got to keep going. So yeah, I mean, it's the days when we were shooting a college and a pro game every week and you had very little sleep and you were exhausted on Sunday. It was a great crutch to have, and the stuff works great. And when it first came out, I didn't use autofocus until about 97. And whatever camera Canon came out with at the time, I'm going to say it was EOS 3. I really felt like I was more inclined to get a good picture manually focusing than I was with the camera, because at the time, autofocus, you could get a lot of great stuff, but if you miss something, you get nothing.
Yeah.
Like it would just, the focus would just take off on you and you would get nothing of a play. And I just thought that was unacceptable for I work. So I may have a frame or two out of focus of a guy rolling out. The picture with the autofocus camera, it would have every frame in focus or none of them. And I didn't think that was acceptable. Once like 97 came, I remember the actual day I started using it. It was an early game. It was a Denver's Packers game in early December of 97. And I remember thinking, this camera's better than I am now. And that's when I just started using it. So, because I used to carry around for the longest time my F1 and my FD, or actually no, I guess it was my FD 400 with like a, Canon EOS 1V. Yeah. So.
Do you recall the greatest game or sporting event you've ever been at or seen?
You know what? Everybody asked me this. The coolest thing I've ever covered was
Well, then I don't want to ask it. If everybody's asked it, I don't want to hear
Next
it.
question. No, it was an adventure race through the jungles of the Philippines. Yeah. So that was really cool. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I wasn't an outdoors photographer. That kind of the jungle kind of thing. So living in the jungle for 3.5 weeks in a tent, traveling around, and then trying to find this crew of this team of people that we were shooting that really pushed me. And it was just the most exotic thing I'd ever done, and it was actually for SI for women. But that was really cool. That one really stands out. There's just so many football games, so many baseball games, that it all becomes a blur at some point.
How about the Phillies winning the World Series? That mean anything?
That was great.
Because I watched that. You were behind the plate the whole series. Or part of the series. I'd be like, look, he's using a D3 and he's got a 24-70 and he's shooting these wide shots that then you go look at the magazine and bam, there they are.
Yep. Yeah, it was very cool. Like when I was a kid, my dad took me to when the Phillies won in '80, and we had season tickets at the time, and our World Series tickets were upstairs above first base. And when the Phillies went to the World Series in '08, I had a friend ended up getting me tickets from my family, and they were upstairs above first base. So when it was like that last inning, and I was looking up there, it was cool to have my family there. That was really neat. And it's like that. What's exciting doesn't matter to me who wins so much because I'm lucky I get to go to the World Series, whoever's in. I just love shooting the games, the World Series games, the jubilation. I love all that stuff. I know a lot of people at the Phillies, and knowing they were going to get a ring, knowing they were going to hit pay dirt, that was the best part.
Ring.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool aspect of it to get one of those. In terms of RAW, have you been a RAW shooter?
We've shot RAW all along at SI. I mean, I commend them for that. I mean, it's a huge storage issue, but they've stuck with that. At least they're still doing it. That we've always shot RAW. So, and I mean, that was kind of the reason why you worked at SI. Is like you always wanted to work to that next level, and they always wanted to get that next level of quality. So we always have, and we always had to manage that. It's pretty tough. Some of the cameras that didn't have a very big buffer,
right?
When you were shooting the end of the World Series and you needed to just blast through, you'd hit that buffer sometimes, So
it's kind of like hitting the end of the roll.
Well, yeah, that's shooting at 36 frames a pop. That seems so.
Did you have
quaint?
I remember standing next to you in the dugout at Veteran Stadium and just listening to the slide film just running through with these motor drives. I was like, well, holy crap, that was 8 shots and he didn't swing.
Yeah,
but that was the nature of it, wasn't it?
I doubt I shot 8 swing. I have pictures when they didn't swing, Jared, but that's okay.
But I remember a roll was found because somebody dropped a roll, and I think it was your roll, and the guy threw it to you. I don't know why I remember that stuff, but there was nothing like shooting the vet. I mean, for a kid to go down there and shoot, a ball came through the dugout because there was no net there.
Oh yeah,
and you're on the front step, and you got all these cameras and everything, and holy crap!
And the vet was. The photo pit was inside first base, so it was really close.
It was close.
Yeah. And Jerry Rodriguez, who worked for the Inquirer, he was always very adamant that, you always watch. He taught me, you don't watch the third baseman through your lens. You always watch the batter until the ball's hit because you can get killed. And I remember one time very clearly, we were futzing with an extender or something like that, and a foul ball came right between 3 photographers and demolished my lens shade, which was sitting up there.
Oh, it hit.
So yeah, I mean, you just have to be careful, man. You do a lot of damage.
The one thing, baseball is difficult to shoot because you don't know where things are going to happen.
Right.
How did you prepare? I remember Rollins. No,
Scott Rowland.
Not Scott Rowland, but who was
Jimmy
our third
Rollins?
baseman at the time?
Scott Rowland.
Oh yeah, Scott Rowland.
Yeah, Scott
You have
Rowland.
those diving shots in the whole. How do you get that? How do you get that stuff?
In baseball, you're playing at percentages. So if it's a right-handed batter, you're keying on the third baseman, and you're basically cheating. You're just waiting for somebody to hit him. You can't be on someone else and then get that picture because it just happens, too fast. So you kind of just sit on the guy, assuming the batter's going to pull the ball. You sit on the third baseman, you just wait, and then you still have to react. And you're going to stay manual focus. You're going to shoot autofocus and take your chances. If he hits a screamer to the first baseman, you're not going to get it. It's just that simple.
How about remotes? You set up remotes?
Remotes, yeah, at times, sure. SI used to be about. We used to cover games. We used to cover games or cover events in terms of what happened at the game. So they'd want every big play. It was much more important to put up remotes. Now, if I'm putting up a remote, I'm taking a guess. If I'm doing a story on a guy that hits a lot of triples, I'm remoting third base. If I'm doing a World Series, you may have 4 or 5 guys there. You're remoting the base that you're responsible for. So maybe, I'll take home, and then somebody else has got third base, somebody else has got second base. You put up your remote, and then you fire them as needed. But it's just a little different environment at SI where it's more of a feature-y type of thing. You can still make a great picture, but you're not doing it as often. You're not doing it as often. You're picking and choosing more.
Sure. What are your thoughts on athletes becoming photographers these days? There's 2 prominent ones I know of.
You know what? I mean, it doesn't affect me really. It's like if they want to do it, I mean,
I don't know.
So yeah, I guess Ken Griffey's one, and then who's the other?
Randy Johnson. But he's been shooting since back in the day.
Has always been a photographer. Yeah, Randy Johnson's he's always been a photographer. I remember back in like the 70s, Willie Stargell went to some games. I think with Walter Yost, he went to some games and shot. More power to them.
Yeah.
If they're having fun and if they can make money doing it, sure, it's great.
I think Griffey shoots his kid mostly, I would think.
Yeah, I saw some clip somewhere online that he was at some football playoff games, but I don't know what the deal was. So,
did you just do the Westminster Dog Show?
I did. Yeah,
how was that the first time? Or
it was the first time I'd ever been there. Yeah.
I sat here and watched it, and I did my own commentary to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that guy, but then you got the shot. Is this a mop or is it a dog? It's a dog. How was it?
Yeah, you know what? I had no idea what to expect. I thought it was going to be a bunch of stuffy, dogs and owners, and it was great. I love dogs. I was just at Allen's, and I don't know if you know, Allen's got a dog.
I heard.
Oh, yeah, man, it was great. Beautiful dog, Brooklyn. So I love dogs, and it was great. There's a photographer up in New York, John Angelillo, that I know pretty well. And I saw him there. He was like, Al, this is my Super Bowl, man. He goes, I love the dogs. So it was great. I mean, the people are really cool about it. You just walk up and you can talk to the dogs and pet the dogs. And most of the dogs are really friendly. They love the attention. So I did a blog post on it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I didn't use anything. But it was cool. Yeah, it was very cool. It's just different, Like
yeah.
I've always said, people are like, what do you like to shoot? I'm like, whatever I didn't shoot last week. So that was cool. Yeah, it was very cool.
Is there something you haven't shot that you've wanted to shoot?
Not really. There's events that I've never been to, the Kentucky Derby. You kind of, on the day of the Derby, I'll think, I wish I could shoot that. But I don't, you have to put in the time to kind of earn your way to those things. And it's not something that I would set my goal at, but be kind of curious. There's certain events that I haven't done.
Yeah.
But that's like the only one I can think of.
Sure.
So I've gotten to do a lot of the things I wanted to do. And, still have opportunities to do stuff.
So what are some things, I know you talked about it up front about people becoming photographers. School, no school, what is the best thing that somebody could do to make it in some way or another?
Well, you have to be a good photographer. And probably more important than that, you have to be a good, smart businessman. You can go to school. I mean, there's certainly things that'll get covered there, maybe make your life a little easier. Like I'd say, I always tell kids now, it's like you have to have options. So maybe you go to school for English or business or whatever, and then you shoot on your own. I think you can learn, if you're really an inquisitive person and you're really motivated to learn photography, you learn it on your own. You're going to, photography it's about solving problems. Right? So taking a picture is the easy part. It's about solving problems.
Getting the access.
If you're getting the access, and that just comes over time, and if your pictures are good, they'll get you access. But you really got to solve problems. And when you come across a problem, whether you're in school or not, you got to solve the problem. And as a photographer, if you're on site, there's no teachers around. There's no books around to check. I mean, you can check your phone, I guess, but you're going to be solving a problem on the fly. So I did it. I did it one way. There's no right way. I know a lot of photographers at SI that I've worked with. They went to school for photography. They have graduate degrees in photography. I took a few classes at like Montgomery County Community College, and ended up teaching one of them because the teacher just didn't know that much about photography. But I learned it on my own. And then I got a job out of college working at a studio in New York, which was just a godsend because that's the stuff I didn't know. I didn't know technical lighting. I didn't know business. And that guy taught me a ton of stuff. The guy's name is Bob Wagoner. Yeah.
So it's still really important to get in with a photographer if you can get in to assist, to learn.
Yeah, and outside of assisting for him, I really did not assist very much. I was very ambitious and I wanted to shoot, and I figured when you assist, you get to do bigger jobs than you're qualified for, and you learn on those jobs. I did that for a year with this photographer, but then I went back to the bottom and just worked my way up. And just, I didn't really have this ambition to have a studio. But then as I wanted to be a sports photographer, but then I realized that having the studio experience was going to help me.
Sure.
Because, you could do the action and the portrait, and it made you more versatile. So having that, I've never had a studio, but I've always had a portable studio. So, and then as I worked on those skills, and there were a lot of people that, at first, the critique on me was that my work was very static. And that was a result of the person I worked for. Bob was an incredible technician. But he wasn't like super creative at the time. So I came out of there as this very, very technical person. I knew about pushing film and knocking the magenta out with a quarter stop push and all this stuff. I applied that to sometimes the sports, but mostly I applied it to my feature stuff, and then worked gradually to try to get more and more work at SI doing features. When you're a freelancer in a contract, you're just trying to increase the amount of days you're doing.
Was there a photographer that you looked up to when you first started? Somebody that you just said, I want to do what they're doing?
I guess really the first one was Walter Yost, and when I was like 22, I called him when I was working in New York. I just called him out of the blue, and he picked up the phone, and we chatted for a little bit of time. And, nothing, no like dramatic information, just like, hey, man, you can make great pictures from anywhere. Take pictures out of the stands, whatever, and work your way into the field. And, and then as I got to know other photographers, local photographers at the local paper where I played baseball at Lansdale Catholic. So the local photographers from the North Penn Reporter, Jeffrey Patton and Sherry Kemper-Starner, they taught me a ton of stuff. They let me shoot. They got pictures published in the paper, and I was constantly, picking their brains. And I got my picture in the paper all the time too. So yeah,
that's because they focus. I remember that they start focusing on you when you start asking them questions, and they're aware of you, and then they start doing that.
So sure.
Well, sweet. I'll end it with the last thing. What's next? Where are you going?
What's next? I have no idea. Yeah, I really don't. And like I said, part of it's kind of scary and part of it's real exciting. I feel like I have a lot of options. I feel I've really prepared myself. I mean, I knew this layoff was coming. I didn't know it was coming when it did. But I was prepared for it in January. I just bought a new computer, got my software squared away. So now I just got to figure out, like, what I want to do with the rest of my life. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm already making plans and laying the groundwork for some different things, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your information.
Great, man. Thanks for having me. It's good seeing you again.
Same here. So what'd you think?
That was a solid interview. I found out a lot about SI that I didn't know, and a lot about his life, I guess, in general, and how he started and what he wants to do. I'm just curious about what he's going to do from now on.
Yeah. I mean, we sat and talked a little bit after. I mean, Al's a go-getter.
Oh, yeah.
He's an athlete, and you don't keep them down. And it's cool hearing that he was scared but excited.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. He's going to be shooting the biggest event still. He
seems like he's just going to have the freedom to do whatever he wants now, literally.
Yeah.
Just almost like a relief that he can just...
Isn't it cool hearing him talk about learning video?
Yeah.
That he transitioned there, that he's going out to NAB.
Maybe we'll see him there.
Yeah, we're going out to NAB. And there's a lot of people
he gets it, though. I mean, he gets it.
Well, I said to him, after, when we were walking away, I was just like, It's about storytelling. Whatever you do to convey a story is if you can convey the story and do it quality-wise, then you're going to win.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved how he sat here and he was just like, there's not a lot of competition, which there's a lot of people that want to shoot.
It was interesting how he said it, because I, for one, do think there is a lot of competition, but the way he worded it makes sense.
Good competition. So that was cool. I'm really, really happy I got Al in here. I mean, so if you've ever looked at a Sports Illustrated since 1990 or 1989, you've probably seen 2-page spreads of stuff that he's taken.
And it was funny to see that he would rather have a nice 2-page spread than like a cover.
Well, the 2-page spreads are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality... Sports Illustrated, you turn to...
I guess once you get a cover, you're like, all right, now I need something nice and big.
Well, the covers are cool, but when you get those 2-page spreads of an action shot, I mean, that's cool. I liked what he said, and I didn't dive deep into the cropping thing, but he said most of his stuff was shot horizontal.
Yeah.
And that when they did do covers, they were taken from horizontal shots.
I do find it interesting, too, that the whole RAW thing, how they always shot RAW. That's one thing that SI has always been big on.
Because most people tell you that sports shooters like Scott Kelby... doesn't shoot raw when he's shooting sports. And a lot of people are like, well, I shoot sports. I'm like, so what? So what?
I mean, maybe it's different for SI because of the fact that they're printing on magazine.
It's not different.
I don't know.
You shoot raw because you want that quality.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that quality to print.
Plus, he talks about, I mean, just quality in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this, and you and I have been having this discussion since we played with the D7500 and looked at the JPEGs, which I put up that... 16,000 ISO one from the concert.
Which looked good.
In the absolutely no light.
Harsh blue light, too.
I pulled back. I turned noise reduction off in the camera.
You did? Okay.
Altogether.
It did look a little...
smooth.
Yeah.
So that it didn't do any smoothing.
You could tell, you could see the grain in it.
Unless you're going to sit there and tweak the picture style for everything, you're going to start missing photos.
Yeah.
So I just... Because I got... I'm the guy that talks about I shoot raw. And I started to get worried that JPEGs have gotten so good that, well, maybe RAWs aren't going to be necessary. But the more and more that I play and shoot with those full-res JPEGs and realize that they are baking things in that I don't want to have baked in. And if you're going to shoot it flat and correct it later, then why wouldn't you just shoot RAW in the first place?
I just think I don't understand why they haven't like updated the algorithm to say JPEG, like or just a different codec that has become the new standard, because that's been around for what, 15 years, something like that, maybe more.
Probably longer. I don't know the exact
I think
thing.
They said when the first original Adobe Photoshop launched, their JPEG did not exist yet. So
really?
That was 1990. So I think it was around 92 or something when it first came out.
Sutter, do you know what you were just back in 1990?
Nothing.
I'm not going to give a Kevin Smith quote because I think it's a little vulgar, but Todd knows exactly what you don't know exactly what I'm talking about? Well, basically, that's what this meant. All right, let's get into Gear of the Week, which has been sitting on the table. Right now on the table is 46 terabytes worth of hard drives.
Insane.
Okay, Pascal?
It's a lot of RAW files.
Pascal, 46... Yes, I understand that they're RAID and not all 46 are usable. I have 46 because he gave me shit for the Instagram I put. He's like, that's not usable. And he's like, I see your 46 and raise it 200 and something, because he then took a picture of a rack with 200.
Because that's what he does. He's like an IT guy, right?
So why am I putting this stuff out here? Because backing up solutions has been something that you and I have been working with Richie on personally for the business to get backed up.
Yep.
I bought this one myself. This is a Seagate. It's blue on the bottom, so I'll show you the blue part.
Why is it blue?
It's just for Seagate's colors. I don't know. This is heavy. This is heavier than normal. This is an 8 terabyte single drive in here, USB 3.0, and you said what, 4,600 RPM?
I didn't say anything about
4,900? It's the same as yours.
Mine's 5,900.
Yeah, 5,900. So I got that wrong. This is an archive drive also. Mm-hmm. I bought this for $299. That's 3.5 cents a gig.
A gig. Crazy.
That's pretty inexpensive.
Wait, $299, like $300?
$300.
I'm going to pick one up.
Right?
For an external.
And basically, we're just going to use this just to dump all the Drobo footage and just keep it off-site.
Off-site, which you have about 7 or 8
I have
terabytes.
about 8 terabytes full right now.
That's why you have this. Now, Synology, we met them at PPI.
And Photo
Wait,
Plus.
I meant Photo Plus, not PPI. At Photo Plus, and they're like, we want to send you something. That's the perks of having a website.
Yeah.
People ask all the time, how do you get free stuff? Well, they kind of just want to give it to you. They said they would send us their box.
They did.
And I had no idea that they would send me the box
with
with
drives.
5 6 terabyte drives.
What drives are they?
These are Seagate Enterprise NAS HDDs.
Okay.
So that's 6,000 gigabytes. So there's 30 terabytes worth of hard drives here right now. I don't know much about the Synology, and I said that in a video that I made and already put out, but this is like a mini computer. You connect it via, it's a NAS system, network attached storage. You connect it to your network, and that's how you get data. I can connect it to the Ethernet of the iMac to do the initial transfer. I mean, we're going to be moving. I want to put all of your video on there. I want to put all of my archived photos from 2002 on so that it's stored on here. And then they said they may give me a second one. Okay. This is like $2,000 right here. The box itself is $815.
I was going to say, with the drives?
With the drives, it's about $2,000. This is like a quad-core processor in here. I don't know much about this stuff because it's getting into networking. That's why I have Richie coming in for a day to help. I can get a second one, as they described to me, and put it at my dad's house, connected to the internet, and have the one sitting here back up everything to there. So as this gets updated, that's going to get updated through the network.
See, that's something like you have FiOS here. You need a really good upload speed for I assume you would need something.
What we're going to do is my cousin, we're going to run an Ethernet cable from the internet over there all the way to my office so that this can be plugged in. I don't want to go in Wi-Fi.
That's what we have. We have a server plugged in at our house.
And then there's 4 USB 3.0 ports on the back where I could, I guess, connect one of these.
Back up this.
And it will copy everything to here too. I need to learn. I kind of wish they would come in to talk.
So the only way to directly connect to the computer is Ethernet? Is
yeah,
that what you're
1,000
saying?
base. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So couldn't you just keep it connected all the time?
Instead
of just having it as a wireless NAS unit?
I guess. I don't know. I'm so not educated.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
That's why they have an open line for us to call to help
someone
us.
in the comments will
I'm sure
say
Pascal
something.
will know.
Pascal will give us paragraphs.
You don't know what you're doing? You have a 30 terabytes in your desk and you don't know what you're doing?
That's how he'll say it, too.
No, he's going to be like, Je suis, je m'appelle. That's French for anybody out there. So, and then the last thing that was sent to us was Western Digital sent us a My Book Duo.
It's the one I have. Well,
this one is the Thunderbolt version. 2 Thunderbolt ports, so that's cool. Basically, it has 2 4 terabyte hard drives in here that run RAID. You can use it as 8 terabyte striped, or you could just
how much is that
redundancy.
One, do you know?
I think this is $450. This is expensive.
Mine was $350, and that's the 6 terabyte version.
So I didn't buy this, and I didn't buy the Synology, but I did buy this one.
Yeah.
When companies want to send stuff like this, we'll test it out and we'll try it.
It's great.
I mean, why not? So get the wheel. Should I leave this here?
Why not?
It's not going to block anything,
right?
Well,
it'll block the bottom, but that's it.
All right, so it'll block the bottom. I have to go on to the Facebook because what you don't know is before the RAWtalk started, I put up a post that said, we need somebody for flying solo. We need somebody for spinning the wheel. If you want to spin the wheel, leave a comment.
Okay.
So I'm going on there right now, and there's 451 comments.
Very prepared for this.
I did it again.
You say that every week.
Every week it messes with the audio. So somebody says pick them. You should give a spin to Ken Rockwell.
Well, what's the most liked comment? Because that's probably the one to choose. Even though I do hate when people do that because I don't read all the comments. But right. Well, it's the easiest way.
This guy's is. I don't know who he is. I mean, I do. I've seen his.
I've been trying to win Firefly. Here, you can keep doing that. I'll talk to the camera. I've been trying to win Firefly tickets for the past couple weeks, and they're doing contests where you just got to comment and post whatever, and people have been posting memes and stuff like that. And the one week I thought I almost had it, and I had like 40 likes, and they didn't pick me. And I'm actually glad they didn't because basically they actually searched through and read every comment, and they picked someone that was like 1 like or something.
So,
because I hate when people pick the most liked comments.
So, well, I could go through here and find more, but I'm going to pick the top person here, which is...
Okay.
Oh, I shouldn't have said his name.
You should have waited.
I should have waited.
I mean, it's John...
We can bleep it out.
Yeah, bleep his name out.
Okay.
Please. So, yeah.
I can know that.
So that's what it's going to be for that. They're from... Bleep that, too.
Why would you say?
I don't know. All right, so let's go over the Wheel of Fro and let's tell you what is on it this week. Hey, look, there's an Atomos for the grand prize.
What is on it this week?
600. Oh, speaking of the contest, by the way, the other contest is over. The big contest has been running for months with thousands upon thousands of entries. Next week, we are filming the game show to show who's spinning the wheel to win the D750
Nice.
or the Canon 7D Mark II, their choice, as well as a DJI Phantom, stuff from Atomos, stuff from Rode, stuff from other people. We're going to film that like Bob Barker style.
Nice.
All right, so
stick mic and all.
on the wheel, we've got the grand prize. If it lands there, is the Atomos Ninja 2, $699 value. Rode microphone sponsoring this week. Don't forget about, go to myroadreel.com. Spell it.
myroadreel.com.
That's where you can go, so check that out. Squarespace, squarespace.com/fro. Adorama Picks to get some stuff. We got the Fro prize, which, by the way, it landed on last week, so the kid got, he had the other two guides. I gave him the flash guide. Audio blocks, you can go to audioblocks.com/go/fro. We made a video about that recently, making people aware of royalty-free music and what it means and why you need to protect yourself. So you can go sign up there. That's what Todd uses. That's what we use. Borrow lenses, $250 in credit. Think Tank Photo, a nice bag, ? Anything but the grand prize. Rode microphone, Squarespace, we talked about. Plastic printers, 250 free business cards. Fro prize, Black Rapid strap, Adobe Creative Cloud, a year of that. Video blocks, similar to Audio Blocks, same company. Videoblocks.com/go/fro. And back to the thing again, and it's time to spin the wheel of Fro. Do you need to reset the cameras? No. Okay, I'm going to spin it.
Are you? Are you going to spin it, Jared?
Yeah. I'm going to spin it right now. Wheel of Fro! Around and around it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. The winner is going to be, I'm not going to tell you. Where's it going to stop? It spins around and around.
That was a good spin.
Around and around it goes. Where it stops, nobody. Question mark. Whoa. Oh my God. So,
oh my God, let's Snapchat real quick.
I should Snapchat it.
I thought you were doing that.
I should Snapchat it.
Oh,
Why don't I
man.
Snapchat where the wheel stops?
Sure, you can Snapchat it.
Okay.
No, you can't, because you want them to watch RAWtalk.
Watch RAWtalk to see where the wheel's going to stop. It stops on something cool, and I won't show you it. And pancakes, Brussels sprouts. Okay. The winner of
Winner,
the
chicken
spin
dinner.
this week was Adam Peel. Congratulations. He's from Montana. Yeah. What, Sutter? Did you raise your hand?
No, I was fixing my mic.
How's it?
Because I had to do the wheel of Fro and then right back.
Really good episode. You can get all of the photo news stories and more over at fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-122.
Yes.
Lots of funny videos from the QVC, which wasn't QVC, Home Shopping Network.
And I love the Photoshop story. I mean, watching them with the emulator of version 1.0, really cool.
That was pretty cool. Very difficult to use, but very cool for 25 years
They
ago.
could only open TIFF files.
Yep. So I really want to thank Al Tielemans for coming in here. Check out his work. If you've ever opened a Sports Illustrated in the last 20 years, you've seen Al's work. I loved listening to hear him talk.
Yeah.
Good stuff
Very
altogether. So that's pretty much it. Thank you, Sutter.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Todd, for sitting over there. Tomorrow you'll have a new chair from Herman Miller. We bought new chairs because we're going to be getting into filming the next video guide.
Yes.
And we needed chairs for a desk that are high chairs. Ooh. But still comfortable. Comfortable. Comfortable.
Oh my God.
Comfortable. How do you spell it?
COMFORTABLE.
How do you guys, why do you make fun of me every time I say
You
it?
say comfortable.
You say comfortable.
You say like CON. Comfortable.
I always thought it had an N.
It's an M.
Comfortable.
Comfort.
Comfortable. Comfortable.
Oh my God.
Comfortable. Okay, so that is going to be it. Don't forget to check out myroadreel.com. I'm going to check out to see if we can enter for a chance to win some $200,000 in prizes. And the quote, to quote them, there is seriously shit for days to win. They wrote it. I just read it.
They wrote it? I thought they said it and you were like, oh, I'm going to quote that.
No, it's right here.
Wow. That's funny.
So I'm going to go hopefully get rid of this cold. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Rode. That is it. Jared Pullen, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.
Pancakes.